You're welcome back. This is UPFront. My name is Raymond Akwa. Tonight, we're asking that big question, existential question. Is SNIT, as currently constituted, still fit for purpose? This is coming on the back of the recent decisions of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. Joining me in studio is Labour expert and one-time Labour Minister, Austin Game. Of course, you should know by now that that man has an institute that teaches people Labour issues in the Republic of Ghana. You cannot be in this republic and not know about it. Mr. Game, you're welcome. It's been a very long time.
Yes.
Since we are engaged. Yes, hopefully you are still resolving problems of workers all along.
All the time.
All the time. Well, also joining me in studio is the chairman for all public sector investors Tier 2 pension scheme. And I did mention to you that he's also a financial economist and lecturer and an independent trustee of the health sector occupational pension scheme, Dr. Andrews Agbobi. Dr. Agbobi, it's also been a very long time since we met.
Yeah, it's been really a while.
Oh, yes.
Really a while.
Anyway, now let me start with you, Mr. Game. Let me drill down because we've come a long way. SNIT has made so many decisions in times past, and let's not get it wrong. Somewhere around 2018 or so, SNIT told everybody that they wanted to make more prudent decisions. So it was divesting itself of some of its engagements so that it can make better investments going into the future. Many did not think or did not know that this included the kind of hotels we are talking about today. Now, full circle, SNIT selected a company belonging to the Agric Minister in Ghana, which has raised massive concerns with Labour threatening strike. Now, the first question I want to ask you is, I mean, if you look at from your perspective as a Labour expert and former minister, what are the primary risks in this divestiture that it poses to workers and also pensioners? The grouping that SNIT primarily should be representing. This process, the divestiture process, what primary risk does it pose to first workers, second pensioners?
Thank you. I'm most grateful for the opportunity. And thank you, my colleague, for coming. The reality is that I formed part of the commission that wrote the pension scheme for Ghana. And coincidentally, during the course of writing the scheme, myself and one lady, Josephine Amwa, who was then the executive director of the Insurance Commission, Ghana, the two of us were tasked to go and take a look at the operations of SNIT, as well as the investees' superannuation scheme. And what we saw was so disturbing, and we advised and suggested ways and means that we could try and help SNIT into the future to be better managers of the future of pensioners. Unfortunately, since then, with the coming into force of this particular 766, as you referenced, we still are here, and I'm not surprised. The risk element generally of managing pension scheme is quite open to risk. We all know that. But if you manage it well, because I think I can recall the commission, we took a look at the Chile type of scheme, Senegal type of scheme, and modeled it in our own way to represent how we feel, and looking into the crystal ball to look into the future based upon some actuarial studies that were brought before us. So we are amazed and surprised, those of us who are living and are part of the commission, that we are hearing what we are hearing. But I'm not too amazed because I was one of the team members that look at SNITs, So the risk is quite huge, but if the representatives of the working people and the entire board of SNIT are mindful of what awaits pensioners, and they are mindful about what it takes to invest in high-yielding portfolios, we shouldn't be talking about risk per se. Unfortunately, it does appear generally when people are appointed into public office, they assume they are the beck and call of the president who appointed them. So they do whatever they want to do, just merely because Article 195 gives the president an unfettered opportunity to appoint people. They are not supposed to be at the beck and call and the mercy of the president.
In this case, you're talking about the board members of SNIT.
Certainly, because
the question I have for you directed about their conduct, though, but you're saying that there are inherent risk in having to do some of these divestitures. But people did not raise these concerns when SNIT said wanted to make proper, prudent decisions.
Yes, you see, when you talk about making prudent decisions, then you are inviting people to feel that, yes, you are on course to do what is right. Because that is what an insurance investment is about. If you make prudent decisions, really, the people who are the beneficiaries to look up and say, wow, we are going to have a good harvest. Unfortunately, some of us do know that when we talk like that in public sector, even some private sectors, you create room for people to. But thank God we have a board, SNIT board. We assume that the SNIT board, positive assumption, that the SNIT board will represent the interests of the contributors to the fund that are in their hands. But they are holding the funds in trust for the people. It's not their personal money. It's not state money. It's not the president's money. It's just merely putting people in office there. That's just about it.
I'll come back to you and ask you whether the board has done its actual job. But let me ask you, Dr. Aglobi. Of course, you're also a member of the Technical Investees Board. So now, from a financial economy standpoint, what could be the financial rationale behind SNIT's decision to divest 60% of its shares in these hotels? Are there economic benefits, and could they justify the move, even before we drill down to who they gave it to?
All right. Thank you very much. To answer the question directly, from looking at it from finance perspective, from the theory, exactly as you asked the question, exactly one of the companies that we are talking about that is making dividend. Now, all theories will tell you that you only sell what? Distressed firm. That is the only way. Now, why do a company will pay dividend? Dividends are only paid by what? The board of directors' decisions. And it's based on their own discretions. I'm sure you know Bank of Ghana last year and for some time is issued that most of the banks should not go ahead and pay dividend. And for some time now, last year most of the banks didn't pay because of the DDEP, so they have some challenge. So firms do not, or business do not only pay dividend just for paying sake. You might have settled all your indebtedness, settled all your commitment before even you come to what? To pay dividend. So it's like almost like what? After you've met all those commitments, including whatever debt you have to pay. Now, without even having seen the figures per se to know, theoretically from where I sit, I think that theory will tell you that a firm making profit will go ahead to what? To pay dividend. So we said the short run, objective of the firm is what? To make profit. Yeah. And the long term is what? To make shareholders happy. That is to pay dividend. Now, so from that point of view, for me hearing that particular firm, which is specifically the Labadi Beach Hotel, who is paying dividend, then I say, oh, come on. Why will you even put a firm that is making profit, which means that it's a going concern, and it is even staying, and in the future, it will still survive. Now, let me come to pension perspective.
Okay.
Now, what is the mandate of SNIT? From our understanding, SNIT is purely to collect what? Contributions from members. Go ahead with those contributions and make what? Investment decisions. And from those investment decisions, you can pay what? Benefit. And then you can cover your investment. Now, so if your mandate as a trust scheme is to collect contributions, make prudent investment, like Honorable Osengamet said, so that in the future you are able to pay. And it's usually, as we are saying, it's a long term. So for me in the class, usually when I teach this, I say no. Pension is one of the areas where, if you look at most economy, they've made a lot of money. In some countries like Netherlands, Iceland, even their pensions pot are far bigger than the country GDP. You see, because you pay the money today, but you can come for the money in 30, 40 years' time. You know, so it's one of the good investment, you know, that countries, you know, that invest in those areas, you know, benefit from the country as well as what the individuals. So for me, I can say that a firm that is making profit or going ahead, I use the word, or paying dividends, because most listed companies even don't pay dividend, if I can tell you that. So with dividend payment, I think that such firms are not what in need, or they are not financially what distressed, unless I'm proving otherwise. Thank you.
Now, there's an important point that needs to be made out of the people who sit on the board of SNIT. And you mentioned that. You said they're supposed to protect their constituents. We have a board that's chaired by Madam Elizabeth Ohene. There are 4 members, including a Deputy General Secretary of TUC on that SNIT board. There's also a representative for pensioners on the board. So at least 5 of those people are direct either workers or pensioners representatives. Of course, there's an Employers Association representative of 2 people too. Yeah. Then the others that are appointed by the president, one should be a woman and all of that. The CEO, the Director General of SNIT is also on this particular one, and the company secretary is there. Do you think that board represented the best interest of the Ghanaian populace, the Ghanaian worker, and pensioners?
Thank you. As it turned out to be, it does appear the genuine intention behind what they want to do has proven to be otherwise. That's the point. So, solution is what I love to talk about. To me, let's as if we are putting behind, because it will not go on. The money does not belong to SNIT. They are holding the money in trust for the people. The money do not belong to the government. If government will borrow money, government must be borrowed like anyone else, and that decision will have to be prudently made by the board. I'm not diverting away from the question. Therefore, the board that, as is constituted now, appear not to have made a very prudent decision in this particular instance. And I was expecting, so I raised the question. I manage a lot of the unions also, to be honest with you. And therefore, I asked the question, why is it that this did not come to the attention of this things? But because of the
But workers had representatives.
Say it again.
Workers had representatives, 4 of them.
Yes, they should have reported this matter. And my assumption is that they might have reported this matter to the executive board and or organized labor at a certain level. But it did not drill down to where the decision is being made now and everybody raising questions.
But the decision has been made today. The company has been selected. What is left is actually finalizing the deal.
Yes.
That's what we are told in even SNIT's own statement, which means that it's not as if this is the beginning of the process.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. I mean that the decision that was started since 2018,
yeah,
because of the so-called swearing of oath of office, not to divulge secrecy and so forth. But this is not secret. Investment into a portfolio that is expected to yield something for the future benefit of pensioners is no secret. Therefore, I was expecting them to report this matter to the organized labor's executive body so that they will let the larger group become aware. And yet, let's follow it and see what the outcome will be. It does appear they did not manage that transition very well. And that has created this vacuum, and it's not a good story. It's not a good story. I think I heard some of them apologizing to people, to the working
No, I've not heard
people.
the apology yet, because some are calling for their heads.
Yes.
Some are saying that they should be removed from representing workers there.
Well, what we need in the future that I can suggest to you, you know, because I feel strong. I started contributing to SNIT from the very first day they established it. Mind you, I'll be 75 any moment from now.
Oh, wow.
So I am born in Goko, so you Ghanaians who are creating the problem for us. All I want to say is that those who will ever have opportunity, and organized labor should know that when they say you send somebody to represent us on the board, does not mean that it should be a general secretary or the secretary general or somebody just anyhow. It must be somebody with vast. I represented NAT on the pension scheme as a commissioner.
Okay.
To write the pension. I represented NAT on that commission. So why didn't they send their general secretary? Why did they come for me? Because they know I have something I can offer. So I'm just trying to say that going forward, those of us whose monies are with SNIT, we will not allow them to appoint just anybody anyhow. And from next year, God willing, from next year, whoever will be the president must be ready, because we as owners of the money will not allow just appointing just anybody to be chairman of SNIT board. No, just any minister or just anybody to be. We will not allow it. The money belongs to us. It does not belong to government.
So you think that SNIT itself might be fit for purpose, but it's the board that's problematic?
The board, and I really have deep-seated respect for the people working in SNIT. I don't have anything against them. But they must know that they are holding the money there in trust, including they themselves, who are also pensioners to be. We need to make sure that the monies that we give them, that they should hold in trust and that they should invest. That's why, my brother, that's why we hack off the component of lump sum payment from their portfolio so they can have time to concentrate on investment discussions, invest and have a good return on the investments, and make sure the money is protected for the contributors, so that the second-tier people can pay the lump sum. And they are doing very well. And I'm very happy they are doing well. Those in the third tier, which is not statutorily compulsory, but which a lot of people are contributing to, is yielding high dividends. So I don't see the reason why SNIT, we should be having, they can't borrow money to government without government paying. I don't care how somebody will feel about it. It's not their money. The money belongs to the contributors. No government has right. Today government, tomorrow government to come, they have no business. If they are going to take money from SNIT, the minimum, and that's what I expect the board to be doing, the minimum they should give it to them should be treasury bill interest rate, and not just giving it to them and then welfareism. The SNIT money is not welfareism money. It's for people who are coming on. When you come on retirement, you are the most miserable, most vulnerable person. And so therefore, you are confronted with a lot of sickness, disease, and the general cost of living, which is not unmanageable. We need to be very careful. So this is their last chance. This is the last chance of any government in Ghana here. May I repeat it? This is the last chance of any government in Ghana here. Putting its long arm into the money of SNIT and misusing it, this is their last chance. You should never attempt it again. I also represent the rest of the people, and I mean it.
That's an interesting point. This conversation about separating SNIT as an institution from the board and ensuring that the board makes the right decision, can we ever get to that? Because it's clear, President appoints some people, Labour brings its workers on board, then the other grouping is also by pensioners, then the other people come on board. I heard the Labour grouping say they needed more members. Would that solve the current problem? People say, even with your fall, you couldn't just report to the people that this was happening. Why do you think more members will solve the problem?
Okay, let me just add my contributions here very clearly. Let me answer from where you started earlier, that Honorable Austin Garment answered, regarding the structure of SNIT operation as against the structure of how the private pension tier 2 and tier 3 are currently operating.
Which you know a lot about,
which I know a lot about currently. Thank you. Now, when you look at the structure of the private pension scheme, it is checking system. It checks its own. What am I saying? You have a pension fund manager who should always have at an arm's length relationship with the board of trustees.
Certainly.
SNIT, the investment decisions, those who take investment and everything are inside. It's like a department. So here you have a department head who is making all those investment decisions, which in private, that would have been a serious conflict of interest. That is even the structure. Because with the private, you cannot, even the board of tier 2, tier 3, we even don't direct the fund managers who have been hired by the trustees to go and put the investment here, go and put the investment. No, that is not. Yeah, we don't do that.
So they have, for example, say that we are selling off our stake in this one. Could you have made a decision as a board?
Seriously, I would say that no, completely no. Because like I told you that if you have an investment that is generating what? Return and paying you profit, and as well as what? It's a very good investment. There's no way. And I tell you, because for private pension scheme, before even any decision is made, there is serious debate. Because we all have what you call investment committees. And then, like I said, we have what you call a fund manager, who is a separate entity regulated by what? Security and Exchange Commission, differently.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so they have different regulators, and they report to Security and Exchange Commission before they report to what? MPRA. Here again, we have a separate entity different from what is called a custodian. That's a bank. That person is licensed by what? Security and Exchange Committee, report to SEC, and they report to what? Bank of Ghana. So they have like 3 regulators already. On the month by month, the money goes through the bank. So I, as a chairman of the board, I don't see that money. The money just goes straight to that bank that the scheme have. And then this fund manager make a recommendation to the board. The fund manager go ahead, and the board have oversight responsibility. So they cannot even bring any form of investment. And the investment that they bring is within what you call investment policy statement, which must be in line with what you call the MPRA investment guidelines. So you have a clear investment guideline, you have maximum and minimum limit that you must stick to. So you could see that the separation of what? Powers, split. Everybody has his duty, but even in that, we have what? Regulators all around. So if you look at it, it's a self-checking, like I said. So it's not only the board that is reporting to MPRA. The fund manager can report what? Separate to the MPRA, and then you report to SEC. So if you do anything that is what? Not approved, you will have yourself to be blamed. For example, every investment that a private pension scheme has invested so far, are what? All the investment that have been what? Approved by Security and Exchange Commission. You can't invest apart from the investment that have been approved. When you look at SNIT statement, the MPRA report that I have, annual report, I can tell you that one of the largest investment that SNIT have been consistently is what you call unlisted investment. And if you look at unlisted equity, that is in 2018, it's 23%. When you come to 2020, it is what? 32.89%. 2021, it was about 26%. This is what you call unlisted equity. That means that I can just take money and then go and look for maybe my sister-in-law. I'm just making an example. My sister-in-law's company and put in that. There are no checks and balances. For private pension,
and that's 23%.
That is 23. No, that is I said 26.5% in 2021. That is from MPI report. Okay. I have all their annual reports. And when you look at that,
that's high, right?
That is very high. And even the private, you can't do that. Not even zero. You cannot invest in equity that is not what? Listed. You cannot. There's no way, because a lot of things can go on. So if you look at the private pension scheme over the period of time, we started in what? We started receiving money directly from 2012. Though the scheme started in what? 2000 and then what? 10. But if you look at the growth of private pensions, look at that. In 2014, private pension scheme from MPI report were around 7.4%. That was in 2014 with SNIT. 2014, the private pension scheme were what? 2.5 billion. SNIT was what? 7.4 billion in 2014. Yeah. 2014. Now, fast forward.
That's 2 years into the private
pensions. Yeah. Correct. That is 20.5. So, and then when they started collecting the money. Now, let's look at that. In 2022, by MPRA report, private pension scheme in 2022 are 34.5 billion, and SNIT is what? 12 billion.
Really?
Yes. So you can ask yourself, how come these private pension schemes have grown and invested, and averagely, I can tell you, private pension schemes, averagely from where I sit, or none of the private pension schemes make below 20% per annum each time. That's gross return. When you look at MPI report again, SNIT, if you look at that, 2021, that's okay, the 2021 report, 2022, they didn't give this. In 2021, they made what? The return that they made in 2021 was 14 point something. Now, when you go to 2020, it was 9 point, that's gross return, 9.5. Now, 2019, they made what? 7.6. So averagely, if you look at SNIT average return, they have made between what? In 2018, they made a return of what? 6.5, 9. None of the private pension scheme, I can tell you, have made any return below 20, gross return. And you can see the returns.
Are you saying this is just structural, or it is a certain fundamental disbelief in the concept of SNIT, in the concept that SNIT will deliver? Because this is not the first time we've had challenges with it.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you the history behind the coming into force of the second tier. The market women, we went around for almost 2.5 to 3 years before we wrote the pension scheme. We didn't just write it. We want to be sure of what we are doing. So we went around the whole country, nook and cranny. The market women came to appear before the commission and told us in confidence that they listened to everything going on in the country. They are not like him, who is a lecturer, but they are in their own corner, their own lecturers. So they have found out that SNIT will not serve their interest. So they will not contribute to SNIT.
Okay.
And that they will prefer us introducing another tier for them to contribute. So because of the prompting of the market women, we introduce second tier.
Oh, okay.
So, and we made it an enterprise-based private scheme, yet statutory. SNIT is statutorily to function. SNIT is a defined contributory benefit payer. But hitherto, they were paying a combined aspect, both lump sum and continuity of people's pension, as it were, allowances.
As in the monthly payments?
Yes.
Yeah.
But now, they only pay monthly pay.
Not the lump sum.
The private people are paying the lump sum. That's why we have it off, so that they can be free to invest the more. Now, the manner in which they are running the place, we also did an actuarial study and found out that they would make it. People should take notice that if a president or the president of your country appointed you into a board or an office, it does not mean that you have the luxury of reporting to him. The fund that you have been called upon to manage belongs to certain people. And the people have, the board of directors should be conscious of the fact that you are holding people's money in trust. So their destiny is in your hands, not in the hands of the president of Ghana. And so it's wrong for them to be mismanaging the investment as it intends. Maybe what we should do is to change the structure of reporting relationship between the money owners and the people who represent us on SNIT board.
How do you mean?
We are not even going to wait for any law. We will demand it through our representative, and whoever even the president has appointed there, we are supposed to be part and parcel of the president, because the president holds the whole constituency.
Represents us.
Yes, so I have confidence in whoever the president is. And our president right now, having appointed people, he should know that he represents me sitting in the Jubilee House there. So whatever information is brought to him, is it in my interest? If it's not in my interest, he should not even announce it to the public. The way they have recklessly invested in some of the unlisted investment portfolios is very disturbing, to say the least. I want to be charitable, to say the least. So going forward, organized labor in particular, they are listening to me because they know I have told them this severally. They should be mindful of the fact that they represent the total interest of the people who they lead. And therefore, whoever is sent to SNIT board must consistently be reporting any intended investment should not be approved by the board until they return to the constituency, the executive board, and the broad organized labor, to enable all of us to have some available information scrutinize it and give them authorization to go and have it approved. Otherwise, we are at risk. Sure. We are at risk.
I get your point. Now, Mr. Gawe, what should the president currently do to this deal of hotels being diversified or approved to be given to Brian Champion's Rock City? What should the president do immediately?
Great. I have slept at Rock City recently. I went there with the nurses to do a program. It's a beautiful place. But Rock City management alone cannot be compared to a whole town and village called SNIT.
Okay.
So I have high respect for my friend Brian Achampong. I salute him for making an effort. But this one, I beg him, and I beg my friend, my namesake, Akufo, let me call him Akufo, he won't be annoyed, it's my namesake, that he should stop it almost immediately. It does not, we don't need organized labor to go and tell him that he shouldn't do it. He should stop it immediately. The money belongs to us, including himself. So we don't want that investment. That's all. That case closed. Now we'll restructure. We have to restructure SNIT. I'm talking about the nation, Ghana.
Okay.
We have to restructure SNIT. Some of us are willing to avail ourselves to support the cause of him now or any future government right from January 7, whoever is there. How much I'll start walking from my house to that place. We will let them know we will not allow any dirty investment into SNIT again. Never.
Is this a prudent procedure to resolving the current problem, Mr. Abobi?
Thank you very much. You know, you asked me whether I would have approved such an investment, and I said no. As somebody sitting on a tier 2 board, because like he rightly said, we are barely as board members in holding the funds in trust for what? Our members who will come for their money in the future. So if you look at the law, the trustees are per se like the legal owners on behalf of their members. So they will come for the money when they retire. So we have to look at the money in their best interest. And for me, investments that are yielding profit, investments that are good, should not, no matter what, should not, and especially like I said, it's a long-term vehicle. Pension funds are very long-term vehicle. So if you ask me, I would say tier 2, as I am, tier 2 will never sell an investment that what is making a profit. So for me, looking at the whole issue, I can say that, you know, like he said, any entity surely needs some level of reforms.
Okay.
Yes. So reforms are always, you know, part of our, for us to become better. So like he indicated, the transparency way, yes, SNIT used to have what you call an AGM. But I'm sure you know, for a long time, we have never had that. And the place they used to have, I remember maybe 2011 or so for a long time, that they used to have at Labadi Beach or La Palma. One of these hotels, that's where they use those AGM. Yet tier 2 private pension scheme, we do have that engagement. You know, some once, if not virtual meeting, you know, you can hold a virtual meeting. Yes, you don't even need to meet your people all the time. But once you have members, find a way of communicating, either virtually training or something that members can reach you in that large form and ask you questions for you to answer those questions. And it shouldn't be by the executive. It's the board. Because the board, SNIT now, the board, they are not the board of directors. They are board of trustees. Okay. And they are holding the funds. You know, once this pension scheme started, that's why they are called trustees. So they are holding that funds in trust of their members.
Would an increment in the number of labor representatives solve the problem?
Well, if they will increase it,
okay, let him.
If they will increase it, it's good. But like I suggested to my friend before coming here, you don't need to send the Secretary General of TUC there, except that he is capable of representing the people. Otherwise, it could be him, it could be you, it could be me, it could be some woman somewhere, it could be some man somewhere, who have the technical knowledge and capability of reading between the lines, looking at actuarial reports, and looking at value-added portfolios where investments can be made, and reporting regularly to the body that is to oversee even the board member. You see, the body there is a check on the board members that we send there. So 4 would have been ideal, but I think that if they are 6, I would prefer. I would prefer it to be the organized labor who are the predominant owners of the money should have at least 6. The rest can be employers. Plus now we have Institute of Human Resource Management practitioners and then pensioners. They should put people who have that capacity to look at these things there. And there are people who are doing a study in pensions. Now we have a lot of them dotted all over the place. But we need people with a certain level of integrity. We need people who have the spirit of inclusivity, not breaking things and not reporting. There must be a reporting relationship. That's why we made the second tier an enterprise-based kind of thing, so that they will report to the people. And I know that on people's phone, I'm an employer myself, my workers receive information on their phones all the time about what is going on.
They made payments or they've not made payments, or which amount of money has been sent to them and all of that.
And there any institution in this country going forward, if somebody thinks I said I'm 75, I will die, I'll be here. I'm not dying, I'm here. From next year going, we are going to open eagle eye. Did I say next year? From tomorrow morning, we are opening eagle eye. Whoever misuse any money in this country again, we shall shout, because we don't want any jabby haircut again. The DDEP is an unmanaged haircut. We don't need that.
So you're talking about a domestic debt exchange. That's what you mentioned in there, right?
It's that
you don't want that kind of haircut.
Yes, at all.
Now, we're proposing reforms for the future. And who should start this particular reform process? Is it Labour? Is it government? Is it the executive president of the country? Who should start reforming SNIT? Because that's one thing that, if you want to use the word restructuring, whose responsibility is it now to commence the process?
Thank you very much. Let me add quickly before I answer this question about if they can increase the number of labor reps.
Reps.
Yes, of course, I will support that. Let me give you an example of the private pension scheme where government is. In those schemes, the labor or the members of the schemes are more in numbers compared to government reps. Wherever you have government reps, they are in minority. Then government will appoint the chair. But the labor reps, because even in the tier 2, tier 3, say what? At least 1/3 of the board members should be what? Should be members of the scheme. Yes, at least 1/3 should be owners. For that, it is there in the tier 2. So that is what is not probably in the SNIT session. But if you look at that, yes, of course, the law specifically says you can't have the scheme without the members in that. So he said at least, so you can do even all of them can be members without even employer or government reps. Now, let me add one thing. If you look at the investee component of SNIT, which I don't know where these, the hotels fall, though they have real estate, which the real estate is roughly in percentage term, you could see that their asset investment in investment properties. In 2018, it was 18.44. Now, when you come to 2020, it was 25.68. Then 2022, it was around 22.7, almost 23% in 2022. That's investment in real estate, which they have a lot of investment. When you come to investment in, they say what we call investment in subsidiaries, it's less than 1%. If I see throughout, it's 0.56, in 2018, 0.56. In 2020, it was 0.71,
and came down slightly.
Yes. So if you look at that, which I'm expecting that even this one will be part of their interest investee company. You see that it's a minor one. If it's not in the real estate, you can see it's not a significant something which you are making money. So you can't sell that and solve all your problems. You get what I mean?
I see. If they divest themselves of even all of these hotels, it will not solve SNIT's problem.
No. Because of where I sit and I see their sustainability in the future. About what came out a week ago or 2 weeks ago about ILO report. SNIT, indeed, per ILO report, yes, they are in the dangerous grounds. For that is a fact. They themselves know that sustainability, because of how they are going, because like I told you, their growth rate has been what? Very stagnant or sluggish. They haven't been growing. Because if you look at that for some time now, they have been between what? Only about what, 10 billion, and the growth rate.
Their response is that they still can pay pensions. They still have enough to pay pensions, and they have not run out of money.
We want high-yielding pension.
You want high-yielding pension.
The point is that you are vulnerable at that time.
That's true.
So you need more money to buy your drugs.
Not pittance.
Not for you to become a beggar in the streets.
Even to add to it, my brother, you collect some money and use all the money to pay contributions. Will you tell me you are doing well? If you look at MPR report, they collect 4.7, they pay what? 4.8 or something. Some of the time,
so it's hand to mouth.
Yes. Like all that you collect, you use all to pay benefit, right? Look at this one, contributions and benefit payment. Just look at this MPI report. Look at what these are the contributions. 2022.
4.36 and 4.17.
Yes. Right.
Interesting.
This is
if you
collect
ask me,
4.36.
the solution is this.
Right. Yes.
Finally, because we're wrapping up this conversation, very final words.
If you ask me, like I said, I doff my heart for the workers in SNIT. I respect them. But we need managerial acumen to be at play. So, SNIT, we need to reorient ourselves and know that the world has changed. And therefore, SNIT must change to enable us to add value to whatever they are doing. So the people are there, fine. When you have people who are being overemployed, these are some of the consequences also. So I think that the future, though look bleak, we must begin the reform, and it begins now. They should stop this investment. Let's come together. Let's support SNIT to rediscover itself. Let's have the structure of the board changed, and let's get things done in a way that will help the whole nation.
I'm grateful to you, gentlemen, for coming in studio today. I'm sure in the coming days we'll be exploring this matter further. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we tie the nice ribbons on today's edition of UPFront. Many thanks to you for watching.